Hello students, this is Shanaz and today I am going to start a new chapter of physics, that is lesson number 9, force and laws of motion. Now students, in your lower classes you have heard about force. We know that a push or a pull is known as force. Now when we push or a pull of an object, actually we are applying external efforts. Now when we apply external efforts on an object, if object is at rest, it will come into motion. If an object is in motion, its speed may increase or it may come to rest. So now we will study a new definition for force. A force is an external effort that changes the state of an object at rest or at motion. It can change an object's direction and velocity. Force can also change the shape of an object. Now, if you hammer an object, if you hammer a brick, its shape can be changed. So hammering is actually external effort which you are applying and which is changing the shape of object. In the same way, if a ball is moving towards north and if you want to move it towards east, you will apply force from the opposite direction, so its direction can change. In the same way, velocity means speed. If an object is moving with the speed of 5 meter per second, if you will apply force in the direction of motion, then its speed will increase. So in this way, force can change the direction, velocity as well as shape. So you have to remember, force is an external effort which change the state of object at rest or at motion. Now there are two types of force, balanced force and unbalanced force. What is balanced force? When balanced force are applied to an object, there will be no net effective force acting on object. Balanced force do not cause a change in motion. Means is if equal force is applied on an object from opposite direction. Here you can see in this first figure, equal force is applied on a rope in opposite direction, so there is no change in the motion. This is known as balanced force. So net in case of balanced force, net force is 0. You can see in the first figure 300 Newton force is applied in opposite direction. So net force is actually 300 minus 300. So net force is 0. Now unbalanced force. Unbalanced force acting on an object change its speed or direction of motion. It moves in the direction of force with the highest magnitude. Now actually, if number of forces are acting on an object, like in this figure you can see 400 Newton force is applied in one direction and 300 Newton force is applied in another direction. So from figure only we can make out that motion will be in the direction of 400 Newton because the magnitude of this force is greater. But how much force will actually work? 400 minus 300, that is net force is only 100 Newton. So we'll see what is net force. When multiple forces act on a body, they can be resolved into one component known as net force acting on the object. So if number of forces are acting on an object in opposite direction, then the difference of the force obtained is known as net force, and the motion of the object will be in the direction of net force. Here you can see in the first figure there are three forces, F1, F2 and F3, where F1 and F2, that is 5 Newton and 5 Newton, are in one direction, whereas 7 Newton, that is F3, is in opposite direction. So here you can see the total. If you want to calculate the net force, how you will calculate? See, 5 Newton plus 5 Newton minus 7 Newton. So net force will be 3 Newton in the direction where more force is applied. So net force is actually the resultant force by which the object moves. Newton's first law of motion. Frictional force. The force that opposes the relative motion is called friction. It arises between the surface in contact. Now in the figure you can see when we try to push a table and it does not move, it because it is balanced by frictional force. Frictional force is acting on every object and it is exerted by the surface. When we are walking on the floor, we are applying force on the floor with our legs, and even the floor is also applying friction force on our feet, and because of this frictional force we are able to walk. Now Newton's first law of motion says that a body continues to be in the state of rest or uniform motion in a straight line unless acted upon by an external unbalanced force. The first law of motion is also known as law of inertia. Now actually, according to Newton, if any object is moving and if no other force is acting on that object, then object will continue to move forever. It means, according to Newton's first law, if you kick a ball, then ball will continue to move. But in practical life, it is not happening so. If we kick a ball, ball will cover a certain distance and it will automatically comes to rest. So what does it mean? The Newton's first law of motion is wrong? No. Nobody is stopping the ball, but still the ball comes to rest. So who stops the ball? So actually the frictional force which is exerted by floor on the ball brings the ball to rest. So any object, if it is moving, will continue to move if no force is applied on an object, or if an object or a body in rest will remain at rest only unless and until any external force is applied to it. If you have kept a ball in a room and if you do not touch, if nobody touched that ball for suppose 24 hours, so the ball will remain at the same place only. This is for all non-living object. If no force is applied on an object, it will continue to remain in the same state. Why Newton's first law is also known as law of inertia? So for this we will learn what is inertia. Basically, all objects have a tendency to resist the change in the state of motion or rest. This tendency is called inertia. All bodies do not have the same inertia. Inertia depends on the mass of body. Mass of an object is the measure of its inertia. It means more mass, more inertia, and less mass, less inertia. Now what is this tendency of an object to resist the change? Very simple example we'll take that again, that of ball. If you have kept the ball on a floor and if no one touched the ball itself will not change its state of rest. This is called inertia. If you kick a ball, then only ball will come to the state of motion. So in this way, every object has the tendency to maintain its state, whether it is a state of rest or state of motion. Now all the bodies do not have same inertia. What does it mean? If a ball is placed on a floor and if you kick a ball will move. But if you kick a truck, it will not move. Why? Because mass of ball is less, so inertia of ball is less, and so it will change its state of rest. But if you just imagine the mass of truck, it is much more higher than the ball, and so if you kick a truck, it will not change the state of rest. It will resist the change of state, and so we can say that inertia depends upon mass of an object. If object is having more mass, it means it has more inertia and it will produce more resistance to the change in the state, whereas there are some objects, if you consider a very light tennis ball, if you will keep that tennis ball on the table and if you just switch on the fan, that ball will start moving. It means even a little air or velocity of wind is enough to change the state of rest of that ball. But it is not true for all the things. Everything does not move by just the wind produced by fan. So inertia depends upon the mass of an object. Here you can see in this figure, two buckets are tied with a stand. Now one is empty and one is filled with sand, so it is heavy. If you push the empty bucket, it will easily swing on the rope, but the another bucket which is filled with sand, if you push it with the same force, it will not move at all. It means inertia depends upon the mass of object. Now momentum. See students, if I take a bullet and if I throw that bullet on something, will it harm anybody? No. But if same bullet I fire from the revolver and if it stuck with anybody or any object, it will damage that object. What does it mean? Mass of bullet is same, but in both the cases the speed of bullet is different, and because of that speed the result is different. When the bullet is thrown with hand, no damage is caused, but the same bullet if fired from a rifle, more damage is caused. So here we can say that damage is caused due to velocity of bullet. In the same way, if from a slope a small stone is rolling down, it will not cause any harm to anybody. But if from the same slope, if a truck is rolling down with less speed, but then also it may cause more harm to anybody or anything which come in its path. So here speed is not more, but mass is more of truck as compared to the stone. So we can say somewhere the speed and the mass both are responsible for the impact of force, and because of this Newton introduced a new quantity that is called momentum. So impact produced by an object depends on their mass and velocity, and the momentum of an object is defined as the product of its mass and velocity. Momentum is represented by the symbol P. So P is equal to mv. Momentum is a vector quantity and has direction and magnitude both. If either mass or velocity of an object is more, momentum is more, as we have seen in the example of bullet. Same bullet is thrown by different means. One is thrown with hand and one is thrown through rifle. So impact which is produced through rifle is more as compared to the bullet which is thrown by our hand. Here in both the cases mass of bullet is same, but the velocity is different, and so the impact is different. Because when we multiply mass into velocity, we get momentum, and the bullet which is shot through rifle has more momentum as compared to the bullet which is thrown with hand. So an object with more momentum will produce more impact as compared to the object with less momentum. Suppose if a battery of a car is dead, so normally what we do to start the engine, we push the car. If we push the car little bit and leave, then will the engine start? No. We have to push the engine to some distance to start the engine. It means when we are pushing the car, actually we are changing its momentum. But if the momentum is changed for some time, it will not produce force. But if we push the car for a longer distance, it will produce more force to start the engine. It means rate of change of momentum has something to do with force, and this concept is explained by Newton by the second law of motion. Second law of motion states that rate of change of momentum of an object is directly proportional to the applied unbalanced force in the direction of force. It means now we will study how the second law of motion can be explained mathematically. Suppose an object of mass m is moving along a straight line with an initial velocity u. It is uniformly accelerated to velocity v in time t by the application of constant force F through the time t. The initial and the final momentum of an object will be P1 is equal to mu and P2 is equal to mv respectively. The change in momentum is directly proportional to P2 minus P1, that is mv minus mu. If we take m common, then it will be v minus u. So the rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to m v minus u by t. Now what is rate of change of momentum? That is force. So force is directly proportional to m v minus u by t. If we want to remove proportionality sign, so we have to introduce one constant, that is k. So F is equal to k m v minus u by t. And what is actually v minus u by t? Actually it is acceleration. So F is equal to k m a. And now if the 1 Newton force is applied and if mass of object is 1 and acceleration produced is 1 meter per second square, then value of k will be 1. So for k is equal to 1, F is equal to ma. This is the mathematical representation of or mathematical formulation of second law of motion. Newton's third law of motion. Newton's third law of motion states that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Action and reaction forces are equal, opposite and acting on different bodies. The force of a nail on hammer and the force of hammer on the nail. Actually, both the forces are equal in magnitude, but they are opposite in direction. And because of this, when you hammer the nail, sometime you will feel that some force in the opposite direction is exerted on hammer by nail. The best example is when a bullet is shot by rifle from a rifle, the rifle will move in the opposite direction of motion of bullet. This is due to Newton's third law of motion. One more example, when you are in a boat which is in the river, if you want to jump out from the boat, what will happen? You will jump forward, but boat will move in the opposite direction. This is also because of Newton's third law of motion. In the same way, when we are walking on the floor, we are applying force on the floor by our feet, and the floor is also applying force on our feet in the opposite direction, and so we are able to move forward. Just imagine if instead of floor, if we want to walk on water, what will happen? We will apply force on water, but water will not apply force on our feet, and so there is no frictional force on water, and so we will not able to walk on water. In the same way, if you want to walk on a greasy surface, it will exert less friction to your feet, and that is why it is difficult to walk on a greasy surface. So in a day-to-day life, there are many cases in which we observe that action and reaction are equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. If two students or two children are standing on a cart, and if one child throws a heavy bag towards the other child, what will happen? The cart will move in the opposite direction. Why? Because if he apply force in one direction, his body will move in opposite direction due to Newton's third law of motion. Now we will study law of conservation of momentum, but first we will study what is the concept of system. The part of the universe chosen for analysis is called system. Everything outside the system is called environment. For example, a car with constant velocity can be considered as a system, and all the forces within the car are internal forces, and all the forces acting on the car, such as frictional force exerted by road on the tires of car, is called environment, or it is also called external force. Now the total momentum of an isolated system is conserved. What is this? It means that the total momentum remains same before for an isolated system, net external force on the system is 0. For example, collision of two balls A and B. From Newton's third law of motion, force applied by ball A on B is stated by FAB, whereas the force applied by ball B on A is stated by minus FBA. So what is force? Force is actually mass into acceleration. So if we consider the force applied by A on B, then it will be mass of A into acceleration of A, that is equal to mass of A, and acceleration can be represented by rate of change of velocity. So ma va minus ua upon t is equal to mb vb minus ub upon t. If we open the bracket, we get ma ua plus mb ub is equal to ma va plus mb vb. It means the total momentum of a system is conserved. The total momentum before collision is equal to total momentum after collision. All the conservation laws such as conservation of momentum, energy, charge, etc. are considered to be fundamental laws in physics. These are based on observation and experiment. It is important to remember that a conservation law cannot be proved. It can be verified or disproved by experiment. An experiment whose result is conformity with the law verifies or substantiates the law. It does not prove the law. On the other hand, a single experiment whose result goes against the law is enough to disprove it. The law of conservation of momentum has been deduced from large number of observations and experiments. This law was formulated nearly 3 centuries ago. It is interesting to note that not a single situation has been realized so far which contradicts this law. Several experiences of everyday life can be explained on the basis of law of conservation of momentum. So students, with this we end our chapter. Goodbye.